All right, Lagos. Yes, it is 16 minutes going to 5, and you are tuned in to Personal Finance here in Smooth 98.1. Where we love music, we love life, and we love sharing information that could be helpful, especially when it comes to your personal finance. Yay. Who wouldn't want to know how to manage their funds? Well, I would. I would. I need all the information and how I can make sure that my pocket is not running dry and I'm not getting myself involved in things I shouldn't be doing in the first place. While talking on personal finance today, we'll be taking a look at the lessons that we should learn or should have learned. That is for those who got in on that. I'm talking about the CBEX issue. Mm. Well, my guest is joining me this evening is Collins Udolu. Good evening, Collins. Good to have you with me.
Wonderful evening to you, and great to your awesome audience.
All right, Lagos, as always, you can join in on personal finance and share your thoughts and everything in between when it comes to not just Ponzi schemes in totality, but also we'll get a little thing from CBEX. Some people are still on it. Some have decided, you know what, no, I don't want to put my money in there again. But hey, it's good to have someone in this field because there are things that investors and regulators need to learn. And CBEX came at a shocker, as a shocker to some, while some people were like, we saw this from afar. But if a firm makes an investment offer to an individual, what are the red flags that they should be looking out for?
Well, I know once again, I like to thank you for granting me this opportunity, and I believe I'm going to be able to really enlighten Nigeria well enough, in understanding a very great part, to personal finance and also, investment in a vehicle. Red
Mm-hmm.
flags. Unfortunately, the CBEX issue thing happened again after I think way back in 2020 when we have the whole MMM
Yes.
set up. I wouldn't really want to say Nigerians are stubborn or fail to learn some of these measures, but I think we at this point in time we should be able to put in the right things in place, connecting the right parastatals and sectors that are meant to literally create that safe haven for an average striving energetic Nigerian. First thing first,
Right.
an average Nigerian wants to be able to alleviate the level of poverty uh,
True.
on the ground that quite a lot of unavailability is not really there. So I wouldn't really want to put a whole total blame on those who have happened to fall unfortunately to the hands of CBEX. Key
Okay.
thing now is that we need to avail ourselves to learning, education, and understanding the key part of investment and personal finances.
Mm-hmm.
First thing first, you want to be able to identify the regulatory structure of an investment in an entity. It goes beyond just the corporate affairs commission registering a company and just
Okay.
bumping into the street of Lagos or the airways of Nigeria and start asking people for money. No,
Mm-hmm.
aside from the CAC, we have the Security and Exchange Commission. We have even the EFCC that happens to be everywhere day in day out in our faces, and aside
Right.
from that, we even have some of these bodies that people don't really know about called the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit. These are bodies that collaborate together with all these major parastatals to be able to create a major clear herb of safe haven for people to be able to understand what to go into. What are the red flags? First,
All right.
it has to be regulated.
Okay.
Our institution should be able to create a database network. Example, if I go to the Security and Exchange Commission website, I should be able to type in company like CBEX and it
Okay.
should be regulated. It shows regulated or ABC firms that tells me, yes, I am going to double your money for you because that's the whole thing Nigerians love to elicit. Now I
I,
should be
I,
able to go you know, to such platform and ask questions. Who is this institution and how legitimate is this institution aside from the CAC registration that they have? That is
Mm-hmm.
one question you need to now find out. Then secondly, unrealistic returns on investment. If if the financial sector in Nigeria has pegged the return on investment between the range of 10, 15 to 20% per annum and not on a monthly basis, then you
Right.
should ask yourself a key question. Why should I want to go for an investment that is going to promise me 50 or 100% in a month? So,
You should
due
question that.
to that's a good question you need to ask yourself. Then, thirdly, you need to be able to now ask, okay, you're promising me high returns on investment, and
Mm-hmm.
why should I really go for such a thing? On what basis or on what product are we really looking at? So, financial literacy comes in, whereby people get to understand
Right.
various chain lines of investment vehicles. It might really, surprise you to know that there are so many investment, outlet out there that are even more simpler for people to really, earn realistic returns on investment from, compared to a double money making kind of, schemes that unfortunately finds its way, crawls our way into our shores, and leveraging on the vulnerability of the Nigerian people. So I wouldn't really want to stretch more further, but the key thing is
Right.
that you must be able to find out the regulatory structure of the firm. If
Okay.
the investment, is promising you unrealistic high returns on investment against
Mm-hmm.
the financial structure of the country, then these are the questions you should be able to ask yourself, that these are red flags.
Thank you for those insights. But it makes me wonder because you mentioned the Securities and Exchange Commission because they serve as a regulatory body here in
Yeah.
Nigeria. But
Yes.
with that, we also have so many online investments fraud, fraudulent. Let me put it that way,
Mhm.
fraudulent um,
Channels.
individuals and channels. Right. Thank you for that. And some say that this, well, the SEC can't track all this channels. Do you agree
Mhm.
or disagree on this? Is this
Okay.
too much for them to handle?
Now, I don't think so. I disagree with that. Reason why I'm disagreeing with that is this. Like they say, let me borrow this word. Like they say, the police is your friend. The SEC is the police of the Nigerian economy investment space. So
Okay.
they should be able to create a friendly environment whereby people can easily send a quick message to
Mhm.
a particular body. And this is where I talk about infrastructure. These
Right.
bodies, EFCC,
Mhm.
SEC, the
Mhm.
Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, needs to create a very strong infrastructural system in place whereby people can easily have access to relay information regarding XYZ investment schemes. For God's sake,
Mhm.
we are over 200 million people, and
Mhm.
people are literally looking for options due to unavailability. So
Mhm.
space like this would definitely crawl in. But who
Mhm.
are the watchdog of you and I, or the vulnerable people in the society? This is where the
Mhm.
exchange comes in. This is where EFCC comes in. This is where the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Center comes in. So I
Right.
urge these institutions to create factors, to create structures in place that can enhance a report. I wouldn't want to say, let me say, any kind of off word, but create that open space whereby Nigerians can easily ask questions. We don't
Mm.
have the rooms to ask questions. That is why we literally just go on
Or
our own accord,
whim.
and we
Mm.
fall in this dish. So
Right.
I think it is high time these sectors come in to really see the pains of Nigerians. It
Mm.
is the benefit of Nigerians to be able to say, okay, they're taking this initiative to take some certain level of risk, but
Right.
who guides them? Who protects them?
Right.
So I
Mm.
wouldn't really want to blame these people too much, or everybody too much, but rather sympathize with them that the unfortunate happened. But
Right.
what should we learn from this stage? This thing
Which
now
is
is that,
what I want to find out. Mm.
yeah. So what we need to learn from this stage now, aside from understanding the path of knowing fully well that a company needs to be well regulated, aside from this
Right.
Corporate Affairs Commission's phase, then the right institutions needs to be able to have that open room, a friendly environment for people to be able to ask questions. Of course, before you know it, if any scheme comes up, it takes a very short period of time for everybody to start,
You
speculating
jump
around
right,
that. Yeah,
yeah.
oh, this is happening, this is happening. So having these ears on the ground gives the
Mm.
commission the right room now to go in.
And
Regulation, licensing, these are very key things. Are you trying to now tell me that, okay, I can simply set up a bank in Nigeria without the right regulations?
definitely not.
Exactly. So if that cannot happen, then this institution needs to be able to create the measure of safety. Come on, we're
Right.
talking about huge money out of Nigerian economy.
Oh, yes,
1.2
huge.
trillion. That is about 808 about that's about $822 million out of Nigerian vault. Come on, man.
Wow.
Tell me how do we balance the naira with that?
Which makes me wonder, ultimately, do we need to strengthen financial literacy in Nigeria?
We have to. It is now really mandatory, because if I'm looking at the course of line over a decade, let's look at our institutions, for example. How
Right.
many financial literacy do we really talk about aside from the basic accounting we talk about? Basic accounting doesn't run an economy. Even the economics we talk about in school is so basic that we can't really quantify the factual structure of what drives our economy.
Mm.
What drives the average economy of Nigeria today? We are stuck on crude oil. Not only crude oil, but even at the fact that we talk about crude oil, how many?
How
How
much
many
of
really
it?
understand how it works? If we go to our tertiary institutions, secondary, university, we
Right.
just have a survey around there. How many people really understand investment? Unfortunately, we've choked our airwaves with schemes that are literally not investments, but rather gambling schemes across board. And these were things, growing up, our parents
That
frown
we
upon, you
right.
know. But now it's totally so legalized. But if you carry out a survey right now, go to the secondary schools and say, okay, what are the means of investment in Nigeria? I wouldn't be surprised somebody's going to mention about Arsenal and Manchester United, putting a bet somewhere, and all that. So the grassroots is a very strong, clear matter of
Right.
direction at this moment, and the only level of capacity and power to really spearhead this structure, I still
Mhm.
put it down there to the
To the
major
federal.
houses. We talk about the SEC, we talk about the EFCC, and we talk about especially the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit. They should
Mm.
create an educative unit to really sanitize people. I see no reason why we can't go to our universities. I see no reason why we can't go to our secondary schools to address
Thank
people on investment model, on investment
right.
vehicle. If an 18-year-old to 20-year-old Nigerian don't even understand what investment structure is, then it's a problem. It is a major problem.
Mm.
MMM was just a teaser. CBEX gave us a very good, let me say it's the cake. So what are we going to wait for an icing now? So I don't think we should
Oh,
wait
we
for an
shouldn't wait
icing.
for the icing before we start getting financially literate. But yes,
Absolutely.
I wish we could keep this conversation going. But yes, time really is not our friend. But here's one thing I love to ask though: if we do reach out to have further conversations, maybe not necessarily on CBEX this time around, but
Yeah.
on personal finance, I trust you will avail yourself.
I'm fully available to get every necessary financial education across to Nigeria, Africa as a whole. We are the giant of Africa. We spearhead quite a lot, and I don't think we should be in this level and state. There are so many investment structures we have in Nigeria that can really propel our growth. We just need to be
Right.
able to have the right knowledge and understanding. A
That's
lot, unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to say more due to advertorial guidelines, but there are so many
yeah.
simple outlines, so many simple structure out there, even way more simpler than the normal betting platforms you have out there,
All
that can
right.
really project growth. So I am fully 100% available to give my best of knowledge and understanding about the financial space in Nigeria.
Thank you so much for your insight. Well, that is Collins Udolu. He's the CEO of CBRITTS FX Management. And I'm sure that if you have more questions, you can reach out to him on social media. What's your social media handle that we can touch on?
Okay, you can reach me on LinkedIn. Just type Collins Udolu, and I'm live and direct there to address any of your issues. So that's why you can get reach me. I'm not so active on Instagram, but LinkedIn, I'm fully right there.
All right, so we shall go and look for you on LinkedIn. Yes,
I'm
that
right
is well.
there. I'm right there.
You need to be social though. Just saying.